was long overdue. Reporting from Metropol TV at the CBD, Nairobi, I'm Vincent Odhiambo.
Now, meanwhile, players in the tourism sector want the government to review the recent changes in the Magical Kenya tourism and travel health and safety protocols in order to revive the sector, which has stagnated since the advent of the COVID-19. The Kenya Association of Hotel Keepers and Caterers have now called for an urgent meeting with the Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala. According to the union's Chief Executive Officer Sam Ikwaye, the industry has good overview and projections for the business in the quarter of the year, supported by countries such as Germany, who have recently withdrawn Kenya from its red list owing to the hotels industry's heavy investment in compliance. Now, speaking on Metropol TV's Business AM this morning, Kenya Association of Hotel Keepers and Caterers CEO Mike Macharia faulted the government for always shutting down the hotel industry in case of a spike instead of finding ways to contain the spread while allowing the industry to operate.
We were the first industry last year in May to sit down with the staff and agree on a modus operandi for the time that they were out of work.
Yes.
We were still the first industry to sit down and develop a complete, comprehensive 46-page Magical Kenya safety protocol, safe travels protocol.
Yes.
We were testing our staff every 3 months. And the turnaround of positive cases within our premises was less than 1%. In fact, at one point, the Ministry of Health told us to stop testing en masse and go targeted now. From our industry point of view, what we should be seeing is that instead of the Ministry of Health deliberately locking us down every time there is a spike, what they should be doing is actually investigating how we are able to keep infections so low.
Yes.
In an industry that has very high person-to-person contact. But every time there is a spike, the minister goes out there and announces shut down hotels, shut down everything, tourism. But on the flip side, we are seeing political rallies continuing, which attract a lot of people. We are still seeing places of worship continuing. Some don't follow protocol. We are now we are seeing matatus can go back to full capacity with no protocols. So it leaves us wondering, why are we being classified like that?
And now to the country's coronavirus situation, and the virus is still unrelenting, with infections and hospitalization numbers still rising. Kenya's COVID-19 positivity rate has, however, dropped to 12% after the Ministry of Health reported 745 new infections captured in the last 24 hours. The confirmed cases were from a sample size of 6,209 tests. Kenya's caseload now stands at 212,573. In terms of county distribution, Nairobi has 441 new cases, Kiambu 67, Murang'a 23, Machakos 21, Kajiado, Makueni and Uasin Gishu each has 20 new infections. Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe further announced 30 more COVID-19 fatalities, 3 of them having occurred in the last 24 hours, while 27 are late deaths captured during facility audits. Kenya's cumulative fatalities now stand at 4,179. A total of 1,822 patients are currently admitted in various health facilities countrywide, with 135 of them in the intensive care units. In terms of vaccination, Kenya has now administered over 1.8 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines, with at least 698,000 people having been fully vaccinated. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has gazetted the maximum amount of money that candidates in next year's polls will be allowed to spend on campaigns. According to the IEBC chairperson, Wafula Chebukati, those seeking to be the country's next president will spend up to 4.4 billion shillings. IEBC has also set spending limits for those who will be seeking elective positions at the county level, including governors, senators and women representatives. From the Gazette notice, candidates vying in Turkana County will spend more than those in Nairobi. For instance, the electoral body has capped campaign budget for Turkana with a population of less than 1 million people at 123 million shillings, while Nairobi County, with a population of more than 4 million people, is at 114 million, followed by Marsabit at 114 million shillings. At the same time, Chebukati says the commission needs 40 billion shillings to conduct next year's polls.
Countdown begins today. That the media and the country at large pays attention to key electoral processes. I'll mention a few, but these processes, starting with voter registration, nomination of candidates, campaign period, polling day activities, of course, counting after polling, announcement of results, and electoral dispute resolution. These are areas that I want to take this opportunity to address, but the media is part and parcel of all these processes that the Commission will have to undertake. And they all have a bearing on the coming elections. Now, you talk about funding. I think the Commission has said that we require for the 40.9 billion to run the electoral activities. And this comes from the activities which are based in the law. They are all have a legal bearing and they must be done. And so Treasury gave us 26.5 billion, and we are having engagements with them, and we hope that the budgetary gap will be breached.
Farmers through Fresh Produce Consortium of Kenya, National Potato Council of Kenya and Cereal Growers Association have logged a petition with Parliament seeking to review and overturn a recommendation to ban all agricultural inputs. An environmentalist and organic farming group petitioned Parliament to ban use of 262 molecules used in the manufacture of various farm inputs. According to the Fresh Produce Consortium of Kenya, National Potato Council of Kenya and Cereal Growers Association, the committee did not review the European Union policy that led to the ban. The three organizations argue that the rest of the world blanket has disputed the ban, terming it as an unscientific trade barrier. FPC CEO Okisegere Ojepat says effecting the ban will cut Kenya's GDP by more than 20%.
Facing a challenge of invasion of different pests that are alien to this country and that are detrimental to the agricultural sector. And an example is false codling moth that is really ravaging our roses and our chilies that have also slowed down those processes. Secondly, we have tuta absoluta that has really caused trouble when it comes to our tomatoes. We have false armyworm, and we continue having locust invasion that in the recent past. Really, if we did not have plant protection products, I really don't know how we were going to have this. We would like to appeal to Parliament to reconsider this process and throw it back to the stakeholders. Our view and our request is that the agriculture experts be given an opportunity, together with competent authorities in this country, to review the entire processes. The effect that for us is that if we withdraw all these molecules, our agriculture is going to go down, and there's a likelihood we are going to lose more than 80% of our production due to the withdrawal of these products. And therefore, that means that we are going to lose at least 20% of our GDP with immediate effect. And of course, that is going to make us a net importer as a country of food that we eat, and it's going to really cause deficiency and malnutrition. And we already know that more than 2 million Kenyans are already facing starvation.
When we talk about removing these crop protection products from the markets, one of the things that we need to look at is we are growing the staples in an environment that is very unique from any other environment under the sun.
All that we're asking the government is to really consider and bring all experts on board so that this decision that is going to be made really is something that is going to be really thought out, and even as it affects the industry, at least we'll be looking back and saying the experts engaged and they made the best decision regarding the same.
Listed telco Safaricom has inked a deal with the Nairobi Securities Exchange to enable Kenyans invest in stocks using their accrued bonga points. In a statement, a Nairobi Securities Exchange Chief Executive Officer Geoffrey Odundo said the initiative seeks to unlock more investment opportunities to investors using convenient and innovative solutions. The service will be available to all Safaricom customers through the Safaricom app as well as USSD through licensed trading participants. Under the partnership, customers will redeem a shilling for every 5 bonga points through the Lipa na Bonga menu, USSD or My Safaricom app. They will then be required to key in the trading participants' pay bill number followed by their CDSC account number. Safaricom CEO Peter Ndegwa says the development is in line with the company's aim to continue transforming the lives of their customers by delivering a wide range of products and services that align with their needs.
A couple of areas we want to achieve by 2025 in order for us to be a technology company. One, on the financial services side, we want to expand beyond payments. We want to go into wealth creation, savings, and we want to look for partners that we can co-create products, whether those partners are like yourselves or actually insurance companies or wealth management companies across the board. And we want to use digital channels, because for me, I feel that one of the reasons why customers don't go to invest is because of barriers that exist today, or access, or lack of awareness. This is the best asset that we have as Safaricom, and it's an asset that we don't talk about, because last year we spent about Kenya shillings 330 million was redeemed in food, in the Bonga for Good, food and other items that were donated by individuals. We have about 4 billion Kenya shillings worth of Bonga. So I'm going to see how much the stock exchange is able to share of that, because remember that Fozzy and others will still sell airtime through Bonga. So you have a race to utilize the 4 billion that exists on our balance sheet.
If you look at the NSC demographics today, 60% of our daily trading is foreign, largely institutional. Another 30% is domestic institutional. And then we've got the 10%, which you can call high net worth and retail. Now, that's where we really have to lay the focus, because we think that concentration risk on the trading side is not where we want to be. So we're really looking at how can we build retail, and so this becomes a natural area for us to work together. And so we're very happy that we've been able to really cover the whole loop all in one go. So
Price of teas at the Mombasa Tea Auction has increased for the third week in a row, a month since the government introduced the minimum reserve price for teas. Prices of teas from KTDA managed factories improved marginally at auction to fetch an average of 264 shillings per kilogram compared to 250 shillings during the previous week's auction. During the auction in the first week of August, KTDA managed factories offloaded 84% of all teas offered at the market, down from 87% sold the previous week. Prices of tea at the Mombasa Tea Auction have been on a downward trend since 2018 and had this year slid below 200 shillings, threatening to push farmers to losses due to low selling prices that could not cover production costs. In his market update last week, KTDA Holdings acting CEO Wilson Muthaura noted that the improvement in price and absorption of KTDA teas is welcome and is a reflection that tea buyers appreciate the need for sustainable tea farming. Kenyan private sector players have expressed optimism in making steps towards recovery of COVID-19, following a commitment by the East African Community Secretariat to prioritize strengthening public-private sector partnerships in vaccine manufacturing in the region. EAC Secretary General Dr. Peter Mathuki said there was need for a coordinated approach in handling COVID-19 in the region and emphasized on the need for local production of vaccines. Speaking today during a CEO roundtable breakfast meeting organized by the East African Business Council in Nairobi, Dr. Mathuki also noted that the Secretariat is working on reviewing the treaty for the establishment of the EAC.
High time now, private sector, you need to move beyond advocacy and action now. You need to go on the table. Don't knock the kitchen, and the kitchen is too busy and nobody will have time to open for you. Push the door, sit on the table, and action and provide solutions. I want to congratulate KEPSA and the private sector in Kenya for the initiative of supporting and working with the government, particularly on the vaccines, because that is how you claim your seat on the table. That support, working together with government to ensure that you provide solutions.
The need for private sector increasingly to be involved in this is really an open challenge from government today, by way of all the frameworks and structures that exist, and all the issues that we are currently working on, which include the issue that you brought up with the green agenda and the policies and frameworks that were put in place by way of transboundary ecosystems, the efforts that we put in place to ensure that the EAC is social, economic, and environment as what it espouses, the ongoing work with respect to the common external tariff, or the issue with respect to double taxation and the NTBs. All of these are structures and frameworks that we're constantly seeking solutions for.
Our coming together as EAC over 20 years ago, and the progress that we have made since then has been remarkable. As you all know, we are now one customs union, a customs union that is probably one of the strongest on the continent of Africa. Something that we are very proud of. Every year, our finance ministers read our budgets together with same customs rules and rates and policies, and that has been really, really good progress. We also have made some significant progress on the common market aspect of our program, where we are able to do a lot of things like true East Africans. And I still remember President Kenyatta committing to other East Africans that they can come, live, work here in Kenya, own property, marry, and do everything else that any Kenyan can do without any restriction.
Let's now look at how the forex market performed. Turning to the day's closing numbers from the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Standard Group led the day's gainers to edge up 7.82% to trade at 20 shillings per share. It was followed by Nairobi Securities Exchange, which rose by 7.31%, trading at 9 shillings and 10 cents per share. Samir Africa gained 6.98%, while BOC Kenya was up 5.84%. TransCentury ended the day 3.82% higher to close at 1 shilling and 36 cents per share. Turning to the day's losing stocks, Uchumi Supermarket shed 7.41%. It was followed by Nairobi Business Ventures, which dropped 6.9% to close at 6 shillings and 48 cents per share. Stanbic Holdings shed 6.49% to close at 86 shillings and 50 cents. Stanlib Fahari was 2.87% down, while Sasini shed 2.5% to close at 19 shillings and 50 cents. Safaricom was the day's biggest mover, trading over 15.5 million shares worth more than 669.3 million shillings. KCB Group moved 1.4 million shares, followed by Equity Group Holdings at slightly over 1 million shares and Absa Bank more than 600,000 shares. Kenya Power closed the day moving over 200,000 shares. And in sports, Fortune Sacco will aim to make the most of National Super League leaders when they play Talanta FC in their next fixture to reduce the gap between them and the league leaders to 5 points. Talanta failed to overcome a resilient Modern Coast Rangers, who are fighting to avoid the chop as they settled for a 1-1 draw. Bottom side Soy United head coach Francis Xavier is hoping to build on his side's 2-1 triumph against Giants Shabana to mount a serious survival challenge. Elsewhere, Kenya Police won against Silhouette 2-1 in a fixture played at Ruaraka Ground. Derek Kipkoech scored the opening goal for Silhouette in the 7th minute. David Oluoch equalized for Kenya Police from a penalty spot after the break as Eric Kipkirui scored the winning goal for Kenya Police in the 63rd minute.
Kidogo vijana wangu ni kama walikuwa na uoga. Walianza game wakafika wakati ni kama waliingiza uoga kidogo. Game next niko home. Najaribu kwenda kufanya 1 2 3 at least nirekebishe makosa yenye nimeona kwa game ya leo.
That's very beautiful of the boys because today I told them in a game there are 3 opportunities ama options. Weza anza umefungwa, weza anza umefunga, na weza enda by halftime uko 0-0, so all these need alterations in terms of planning. Unajua leo the last 3 games tumecheza tumeshinda, we've been leading, but today it turned out negative na tukaanza tukifungwa. At halftime I told them leo nataka kuona if you are still boys ama mnaweza kuwa men, you must rise up and do what and take up the challenge, and I think they did it. The second half was better than the first half. The first half these guys had the opportunity. You give an opponent time and space, he'll fix you, and that is what happened. And okay, the goal that they scored, I call them those are some of the lucky goals. But I think a goal is a goal; it will always be counted. But I thank the boys for a job well done. It's the first time we have come from behind and risen to win the game.
Meanwhile, Lionel Messi's dramatic exit from Barcelona still has some twists left, with the Catalans alleging PSG cannot sign the Argentine icon due to their own financial fair play situation. Lawyers at the Spanish club have filed a complaint to the European Court of Appeal stating the Parisians should be stopped in their pursuit of Messi based on financial data. Messi confirmed in a teary press conference over the weekend that he will be leaving Barcelona this summer after a lifetime at the club and is now finalizing terms with PSG. However, Barcelona aren't keen to see their all-time greatest star move to a European rival and are very interested in meddling in the move. All right then, and with that we've come to the end of Metropol Primetime News at this time. My name is Kelvin Nyakundi and our sign language interpreter is Winnie Adoyo. From the rest of the team here at Metropol TV, have a wonderful night.